All right. Oop, no, we don't want to do that. All right. So, hey, everybody. Welcome to Indie Comics Relay. This is Keith, and joining me tonight, we have a full panel here. Hey, we got my good friend Johnny C here. We got the CEO, Christopher Carter, for Global Comix. And then we got Eric Tapper, who's who was the role again, Eric?
Disco ball manager of Global Comix.
Hey, I love the 70s, so we're good. We're good.
I am the business development director here at Global Comix.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, so Johnny, like I was telling you guys backstage earlier before the show started, Johnny got back from Chicago and was really excited about meeting you guys and talking about Global Comix and how it's sort of like a game changer for the indie comics crowd, you know, as far as getting digital media or digital comics out to the people. And so,
powerful words.
Yeah, so I don't know where Johnny is, but he'll be back. So basically, we were looking forward to having you on the show, just so we could, talk to you about the company and what you guys are doing, the philosophy there, and So I guess we should probably start with Chris. Like, where did the idea come to jump in the digital comic game, Chris?
Oh, sure. It's about 12 years ago at this point.
Okay.
But it started, when I was a kid and when I was a teenager. I'm originally a Norwegian, and I'm born and grew up in Norway.
Oh, wow, okay.
As I was growing up, the type of comics that I was generally introduced to was the weekly Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse and that type of stuff. And as I got a little bit older, I got introduced to some international comics, specifically from France, Belgium, with Asterix and Tintin and Spirou and all of these things. And, I just really kind of fell in love. And as I got into my late teens, I think that's when I discovered Spawn, and I was like completely hooked. It was amazing. It was the first, quote unquote, adult American comic that I found. And then, as I was growing up and as I finished school and went out into the world, I moved into Germany and then San Francisco, and I've been in France and a couple of places. And I found that a lot of these comics, a lot of stories that I was used to from home, I didn't have access to in any way. And so whenever I go back home, I'd pick up like a Donald Pocket and I'd pick up some Norwegian stuff and this type of thing. And somewhere along the lines, I also got introduced to Japanese comics with manga. And I think that was all the way back in like the early 2000s, 2003, 2004 or so. And the mangas at the time, international availability was 18 months behind at best, if it even was licensed, and if it even was, translated and all that. Digital wasn't really a thing at all yet. And so, I became active with fan communities in the manga scene, helping, facilitate translations of content that wasn't available internationally.
Oh, cool.
And then, we wanted to do something officially and work with creators and publishers internationally back then, but it turns out that in 2008, 2009, the market wasn't really ready for kind of a complete free-for-all crowdsourced distribution platform. And the sentiment that we got when we talked with a lot of publishers was, there was a lot of fear around digital. And so they weren't ready. And Twitter hadn't really become a big thing, and Reddit hadn't become a thing. And, the crowdsourcing economy from Fiverr and all of these things had also not become a thing. And so it was in 2015 that I realized, okay, well, the market seems to be ready at this point. Why don't I actually dive back into that idea that I'd had back then around doing international publishing of manga, just expand it to all comics. And so I kind of got started, right? And I taught myself development, and I was working as a product manager for a double-sided 3D printing marketplace. So I knew a lot about how to do the kind of tooling that you would need. And I knew a lot about kind of what creators need from a financial perspective and how to make them successful. So I kind of combined those two things. And Global Comix kind of popped out after 4 years of hacking on it as a side project, I guess you could say.
Awesome. So like the translation from manga kind of helped facilitate this new platform, which is very cool. I think. I think I was talking to you guys earlier. I mean, like Comixology seems to be, the only digital game in town per se right now. I mean, there's some other small ones like Drive Through Comics and a couple other things like that, but I find Comixology just to be kind of a disaster for indie creators. I mean, I had books on there, and you might make $5 over the quarter, and it just, unless they do a sale or something, you're not even being seen half the time. And I really like that you guys have a focus just on that, like just the indie crowd,
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think is that what the game plan is for the company, is to just keep it like indie, or is it like, are you guys looking for bigger publishers eventually, or?
I mean, I don't really think about it in those terms, to be quite honest.
All right. Yeah,
I think about it as that I would very much like to have all of the world comics in all languages available, so that no matter what you're interested in, no matter what country you're in, what culture, what language you prefer, you have it available to you in a place where you can, read it with high quality and know that the content is what you expect it to be, and that it will always be there for you, right?
Yeah.
And so kind of taking that in mind, we built a platform that is focused on making creators successful. And for us, it's not really a big difference if you're a creator or publisher in terms of what that entails. It's the same thing for both of y'all, right? Like, in that being successful means building an audience, getting readership, having a fan base that are excited about the content that you put out, and that is able to access and read that on a regular basis. And so as long as we can stay true to that goal, I think anyone can really thrive on Global Comix, as long as they have content that people want to consume.
Yeah, that's great. When you say that you guys help out like the indie creator, like, could you go into that a little more? Like, what do you guys what do you do more for an indie creator versus versus what Comixology would do for a creator?
Sure. So, I mean, there's a couple of things. Let's start with this concept of monetization.
Okay.
If you look at, the publishing space, the digital publishing space, the online space is split into two kind of factions. There's the traditional format comics, and then there's the webcomic format, which is these days very much, the horizontal scroll or vertical scroll, endless thing. And then when you look at the types of creators there's so many different kinds. Folks that put out 1 page a week, 2 pages a week, some maybe once a day. Some creators like to bundle and maybe like 30 pages a month or 30 pages every 6 months or whatever that might be, right?
Yeah.
And monetization is a hard thing when you're trying to serve so many different kind of models and so many different masters. And so that's why we, with Global Comix, took aim for finding a monetization model that we could start with, which is our page credit system that would allow creators from all of these types of schedules to actually choose whether or not they want to monetize. And the example is this. If the standard model is you buy a chapter and you pay $4.99, $3.99, whatever number that is.
Okay.
And you buy, 28, 32 pages, something like that. if you're publishing one page at a time, what do you actually sell, right? And so from a business model perspective, you can't really say, well, I'm going to sell this page for 50 cents, because payment processing transaction fees makes that completely moot, right? Like you end up with 6 cents on 50 cents or something.
Right, yeah, it doesn't make much sense to do something like that.
And so, you know, like with that in mind, that's why we created page credits, which is that readers on Global Comix can purchase a pack of 100 credits. It's $4.99 for these, and they can spend those credits on any comic.
Oh,
which means that if you have a comic out with 32 pages, and maybe you have the first 5 free or something like that as a preview, then you make a sale off of the first or the last 27 pages. And as a reader, you know, you're still left with 73. So it means that you can actually start going out and exploring without having to worry about a paywall hurdle or being an upfront cost for something you may not want. And so we're enabling discoverability by bringing down the barriers to entry for readers to go out and explore and find what's on the platform. And we kind of built up around that with extremely deep discoverability filters, probably richer than any other platform out there that I know of right now, in terms of what you can filter by and how you can discover. And it's a mix between social discoverability and kind of the following creators and getting feeds and notifications and this type of thing throughout the browsing marketplace, where you know, you can filter for everything from language to genre to themes to intended age groups or even country of origin of the creator. So, you know, like, and the third kind of component to that is a recommendation engine, which we're, now that the content is really starting to populate in on the platform, the recommendation engine is one of those things that we're going to be tackling in the next half year or so.
Gotcha. So it has like sort of like that Netflix thing. The more you browse and the more you try different things, it'll kind of build up its own recommendations for you.
Yeah, it's a part of what you do yourself and a part of what other people do, right? Because when we have a lot of data that gives us understanding of what is a title and what is it about and what is it that people like about it, it makes it easier to make suggestions for things that are similar beyond, well, we're on the same category and it's been read a lot by other people, right? Like, we can be smarter about how we make suggestions to folks.
Yeah, it's a great idea. I do love the concept of buying in at a level, but not actually buying, like with Comixology, when you buy a book, you just have to get that one book. I love this, that you can like read one person's book, or if you start it and you go, this ain't for me, you can take the rest of your credits and go and try something else. I really like that. That's a great concept. Is that is there other things too that would make it worthwhile for indie creators? Besides that, is there other, like, sure, is the functionality easy? Like, is it easy to maneuver, add your pages and things like that?
I mean, if you're a creator and you have a PDF, you can be up and running and ready to sell your book within 10 minutes.
So just to interject real quick, sorry, Chris, I didn't mean to talk over you there. When I met these fellows at C2E2, they all sat down with me right at the bar, and we uploaded one of my comics from my phone.
Oh, wow.
Like, it was super simple, super easy, and it was amazing. Like, the way I can akin their creator studio that's built into the platform is a lot like YouTube Studio. You know, you can see like what page reads, how far people have read into your book, where the numbers are, where they drop off. There's back-end analytics, much like YouTube, that helps you track your audience.
That's actually really good, because that's actually great data without having to have somebody criticize your book. Like, if you happen to notice that people are dropping off after page 5, you're like, oh, maybe something's wrong with my story. You know what I mean? Like, I actually think that's a great great way to get a critique without actually having someone yell at you or like, come in like a bad comment. You know what I mean? I really like that. I think that's a good thing.
How much more real can you get than to have your analytics right there? Like page 5, as soon as this character appears, readers drop off. Guess who's getting killed in the next issue?
One thing I would add to sort of tie it to the other part of the conversation is that with the page credits, creators and publishers can also set where they want to have a paywall within their comic. So if you have, let's say,
what do you mean by that? Like, so like you can set up a paywall between like pages 5 and 6 or something, or
exactly. So if you know that like you have a 40-page comic or a 25-page comic, and you know that the first 2 pages are going to be the title page, and let's say there's like some sort of informational page, and then you want to have maybe 3 or 4 or 5 pages of content to get the reader really into it, then you can put you can have the payment start at a certain point, and that's totally customizable. So that way you're saying to the readers, check it out, what do you think? Do you want to spend your credits here? Do you not? And then also you can then compare that to your analytics and go, okay, well, we're dropping off really hard at page 5 with the paywall. What if we moved it to page 7? It seems like there's a bit more of an emotional hook there. Maybe that'll actually get people really into it. And then you have that sort of like testing kind of model.
So it's almost like when they want to do like a movie and they give you the first 10 minutes of the movie, and then it kind of hooks you. You just want to give them enough to get that hook in. That's a great idea. I like that a lot.
Another thing, whenever you because the creator is totally in charge, you can make entire titles free if you want. You can make the first three comics or releases of a given comic free, so that the next 3 that are upcoming have that whole sort of back end thing. So if you want to promote and share 1 through 3, get people really into it, and then when release 4 comes out in October, everybody's already there, they're down.
Yeah, so I actually really like that, because it's funny when you talk to some indie creators, like I know a handful off the top of my head that, they have maybe 3 issues of their comic and they absolutely hate the first issue. So like you would do something like that, or what if that was me, I would do that. I would give the first issue for free, and then try to monetize 2 and 3, which you're a little more proud of, I guess, Yeah, so I really like that.
You can even so say for example, if there's something on page 3 that's always bothered you, right, in your PDF, when the platform accepts the PDF, it breaks it apart into pages. If you ever want to tweak something, if you want to go back and change something in the comic that you always never liked, you can effectively change it and then just re-upload it into that slot. You can go back, you could George Lucas the hell out of your own books. Special editions and put in characters that weren't there before. And
oh really? So if you hate page 3, you can just redo it and then upload it and put it right into the spot where 3 was?
Yeah.
Oh wow. That's awesome.
It's very interchangeable. As a matter of fact, even in some of my releases on the platform, these guys have a functionality where you can put in text post lettering, basically. So you can basically letter on the platform if you wanted to.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, actually, I was going to have a special request, guys. I thought of the other day. I don't know if I'm pitch it to you right now, but we gotta have to find a way to save our documents that we've changed within the platform, so we can upload to a PDF. Now we need to be able to export with the changes that we've applied on Global Comix. Is that possible?
Yeah, that's fairly easy. Like, that'd take me half a day to make.
Look at that. See? You have it your way with Global Comix. Just like that.
That's good, because then if you want to export it with the changes to print it up, you have the changes and you don't have to redo them again. That's actually a great idea.
Exactly.
Now, what other did we hit every advantage that an indie creator would have? Like, is there anything else that we should mention?
Yes, there is. There is. We haven't fully announced that we soft launched this new feature. We call it the Global Comix Supporter Program. Okay. Last weekend, and it's essentially similar to how Patreon works. where you can actually have folks that are your recurring monthly supporters that give you any amount of money that they want, starting at 5 and maxing at, like, I think I capped it at 1,500 per transaction or whatever. Which basically is kind of like a donation, pay whatever you want type of thing, where you as a creator get to keep 95% of the revenue on that specifically. Like, we made that entirely with indie creators in mind that are working with this superfan model, so that, you know, like we have a recurring revenue option for folks that aren't even paywalling their stuff.
Oh, wow. That's great. So it's almost like a little bit, is that a little bit kind of like that Webtoons? Is it a little bit like that kind of formula, or is that like?
I'd say it's more akin to how Patreon works.
Okay, more like a Patreon thing. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, that's awesome. And I was going to say, so now anything else, or is that everything, or is it just?
I mean, everything. We'd be here all night.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's more like everyone should any indie creator that's interested in digital should check this out, because, like I said, Comixology is a jungle.
The 20-second spiel for you, like, really is that it's free to publish. You can have any amount of content uploaded. You make better revenue share than on any other platform. You have mobile optimized reading, and you have laptop optimized reading. It doesn't really matter what device you're on, since it's web. And we provide tools like extremely deep analytics tools, such that you can even see how many readers came from a specific tweet.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Kind of a little surprise on that one is we rolled out an update to our revenue analytics 2 days ago. And you can now actually see how much revenue does a specific blog post or tweet or Facebook post or anything like that actually generate.
Oh, wow. That's great. So Roland's asking if subscribers with a question mark, is that more, would that be like the Patreon side of it that you guys were talking about?
So I think there's two. Chris, do you want to take this?
Yeah, sure. There's two parts of what subscribers mean. There's your supporter thing is the revenue side of things, is the donation and the recurring donation side. Subscribing to content updates you can do regardless of whether or not you pay for as a reader, which means creators have their own profiles on Global Comix. You can follow the profile page or follow specific comics that you're interested in. When new content comes out, you get alerted, both through on-site notifications and through email alerts if you haven't turned that off for those specific titles.
Okay, that's cool. And then let me see, we got Pat asked, do you think indie comics are going to outperform mainstream comics one day, as in more interest? I think so.
I think it's an aggregate for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of see that with Webtoons, right? In that, you know, they're boasting something like 55 million yearly readers or something like that, and the primary readership for them is not you know, traditional format comics.
Yeah.
That's on a global base. But if, you know, like, put it this way, if any comic, or if the comic market in the United States had 55 million readers, that's a significant portion of the population here, which would mean absolutely insane, right?
Yeah, definitely. That'd be back to the heyday of the Silver Age again, I think. We had that many readers, right? Well, I think, what was I going to say? Yeah, Webtoon has an interesting, I never really looked into it, but they do have an interesting, like, format and everything. So I want to switch gears and talk to you, Eric, for a few minutes. What do you do for Global Comix?
So in Global Comix, I see my role as helping to build the community and bridge the gap between readers and creators and publishers.
Okay.
So right now, for example, I've been, connecting with different publishers and creators and finding out what they need in order to make their time and efforts the most valuable.
Okay.
and just sort of help in any way that I can to, ultimately make digital comics a bigger part of their bottom line, their business, or help them, leverage digital comics as a way to, grow their print business, to grow their awareness. It really depends. The thing about indie comics, and one of the things I love, is that everybody has a different set of tools and goals and needs and aims. So basically, I'm a problem solver. Can I take this platform and make it really work for you? And if so, that's great. And then the flip side is, as Chris said, that sort of two-sided market. Then it's like, okay, well, who wants to read these things? Who wants to read this particular set of comics? These, this really niche kind of out there thing. Like, where are the communities on Reddit? Where are the communities on Facebook? Where are the communities that are already gathered? And how do we actually talk to those people? And that's the multifaceted problem that I think probably takes up most of my time and focus. And one of the actual tangible projects that we're working on right now is this one-to-one consulting with any creator or publisher who wants to. It's totally free. It's Gamal, VP of Content, and myself, and we basically go through a whole grassroots, low-budget marketing sort of process to figure out those exact questions for the folks that have material and are coming from a place of not knowing so much about digital marketing and like just trying to like figure out a little bit about what's up, to folks that know what they're doing and maybe just want a separate set of eyes and ears and brains.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, because you won't get that from Comixology. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to get that help. No, but I like that though. It's like going to find because I mean, honestly, there's an audience for everything, right? So like that's the idea behind it.
Yeah.
So that's exactly right.
So and Eric also went the extra mile for me too when I was setting up my online store for Comic-Con. He took the time with me to show me the analytics, show me how to set up links so I can track which traffic comes from which portal or which link shared. There's and he kind of really like went the extra mile to take the time to make sure that I understood it and share a little bit of marketing too to kind of help give me a little extra boost. So, I mean, these guys really, unlike Comixology, these guys definitely have your best interests at heart as creators to see you succeed, because, when we succeed, they succeed as well.
That's great.
Yeah, all the time.
Got more. Let me see. Pat said, he asked that because out of DC and Marvel currently, I'm way more excited for the indie creators. Doesn't matter if it's Alterna or CG or Indiegogo. I'm way more excited for that than mainstream. I agree, Pat. I think everybody here does, right?
I think I often see the analogs. I come from a music background. I've been a touring musician for a while, and in the indie scene, I mean, I have met, seriously, hundreds of bands that, nobody has ever heard of, and it's some of my favorite music that's being made, and both in the performance and the ingenuity. And I think, Amy's Birdhouse, to your point as well, the benefit of this, burgeoning and ever-growing indie environment and the market, or whatever word you prefer, is that it does have the energy and the freedom to create really unique, interesting, compelling, fresh stories. And they're much less worried about the risk of, is this going to appeal to, 1 million people? It's more like, are my 500 listeners or readers or whoever going to be down? And maybe are they going to tell their friends? So I love that. That's where I come from too. Yeah,
definitely. I love that whole vibe. Like just finding the audience. That's great. Like I really like the game plan that I'm hearing here. I think this is. I think every indie creator that's watching this should consider checking you guys out. Did you guys have anything like? As I can share the screen, I don't know if you guys wanted to show people.
if I can interject, mean, one thing that I absolutely love, and these guys know I love it on the platform, is that Comixology has that guided view where it kind of isolates panels to let you help read through it digitally. Well, it's Comixology does that on their own. They don't output that at all. You know, that's not something that's in the hands of the creator. They take your book and they apply that functionality. Well, Global Comix went one step further. They put that functionality in our hands. So we have the control to be able to guide the viewer's eye through the page the way we see fit, but not just with standard like octagons and rectangles, or you can do anything you want. You can shape it any which way. And I've gotten a little inventive with some of my titles that I've released. So I don't know but the only problem is I'm on my cell phone due to a little bit of technical issues here. So I don't know if you can give creative control to maybe Eric or Chris, and they can go to one of my books and they can use that as an example to show off how awesome their frame. What's the word for it, guys? I don't want to say guided view because that's their thing.
We call it the interactive reader.
The interactive reader.
Yep, and that way, like you said, it's an opportunity for the creator to, if they want to, tell their reader, your eyes can sort of follow the story. Additionally, it's also for, when you're on one of these things and you're trying to read a comic as opposed to having an actual book in front of you, it maximizes the way that the screen presents the comic so that you are never losing out or having to pinch and zoom and scroll and pinch and zoom and scroll. That being said, it's an optional thing. It's a creative choice. The creator or the publisher can choose to have it. And then also as a reader, you can also toggle it on and off too. So if you're on an iPad or you just want to be able to have that classic experience, that is not something that you lose either.
But I also feel as a creator, it also enables me to expand my story more so than what's on the page. It gives it a very cinematic feel at times. And if I can even now thoughtfully write to that format, I'm pretty sure I can do some exciting things and maybe come up with a couple of little cool like effects or things of that nature.
Yeah, something that when I first, we were first thinking about how to talk about it, it's the question becomes, well, what is digital doing for comics? Is it just the screen version of a book, or is it an opportunity to maybe, change some things or have some new opportunities? So, your words, not mine, but it's, it's a beautiful thing to hear that those two realities are in sync with each other.
Yeah, I definitely feel more empowered as a creator with your platform than I do in any other digital platform.
Yeah, and I think you don't get lost as easily. Like, I think that's huge, I think.
Yeah. Can we have them demo it? Can we give control over by any chance?
Yeah, let me see here.
Can we quote you on that, Johnny?
What's that?
Can I quote you on what you just said about it feeling empowered as a creator?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I wouldn't say it unless I genuinely believed it, and I genuinely do believe I feel empowered. I'm looking forward to always the next thing I can upload to the site, guys. It's
wow.
So I actually had something out the other day, yesterday even. Like, it's so much fun. Oh, we're going into the Matrix.
Yeah, right. Let me see. I'm trying to figure out. I know I've done this level before.
I think Chris needs to click share screen.
Yeah, let me try this.
Okay.
Here we go.
All right. Let me see.
All right. Can you see my screen now?
There we go. There we go. All right.
There we go.
And then let me.
All right. I'll give you a.
There we go.
I'll give you a quick 3 to 4 minute demo of creating a comic, uploading it, and creating some of these interactive panels.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the first thing I want to do is I want to go into my profile settings. I want to go look at my comics, and I want to create a new one. So we'll create a new one for this. We'll call it demo in real time and give it an education category. This one will be free. I don't need to charge any money for this. So I've created my title. First thing I want to do is add a cover page. So I'm going to click on this upload cover image. And then I'm going to choose the picture. And I'll choose a cover PNG. It gives you one of these like croppable aspect ratio things so that you don't need to worry about formatting everything ahead of time. So this is good fitting, so I'm going to choose that and upload it. Cover page is done. At this point, I'm ready to kind of just set up the categorization. So I'll choose some themes. Anthropomorphic, family and pets, and humor sounds like a good one. This one takes place at any point in the future, and we'll say that it's applicable for kids, teenagers, and adults. There's no advisory flags for me to choose there. All right, next step. Let me upload my first title. So I'll click on this create new release. A release in Global Comix is what you can consider a chapter, a volume, an omnibus, whatever it might be. It can be 1 page or it can be 1,000.
Okay.
So I'm going to choose the files. I can choose between, you know, if I have all of the PNGs or JPEGs, I can choose that. I can use a zip file that is comprised of any number of images and PDFs, or I can use PDF files directly. For the sake of speed, I'm going to choose this little list of pages right here and hit open. So what happens now is it's uploading the pages directly to the platform. There's 6 pages. You'll see that they're sitting around and spinning for a little bit. What's happening in the background is our server's taking the super high resolution, large file image and converting into 3 different versions. A small thumbnail that you see over here, and a desktop optimized version and a mobile optimized version. We serve those 2 versions to readers depending on what kind of device they're on, to save bandwidth and to optimize the reading experience.
That's great.
You'll notice that the pages came in a certain order. They came in the order that alphabetically, but if I'm not happy with it, I can just kind of like move the pages around like this.
Huh.
And so, you know, reading order is done. We'll give this a title. And we'll give it a quick little synopsis. We'll save that. This particular chapter does not contain any mature content, and the comic is entirely free, so I don't need to worry about this little checkbox. So here's where we go into the advanced panel reader. To do that, we want to click on this edit button for the specific page. And it brings up this interactive editor where you see your pages. And you can zoom in, and you know, you can zoom out and such. So to add panels, you'll see that you're on this frames section. And what you want to do is you want to click this frame button up here, or if you're like me, use your keyboard shortcut and just press F. When you do so, you can just kind of select the area on the image that you want to have be your panel. See here, now I've kind of wrapped it around this guy. I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of the frames on this particular page real quick. You'll notice that in this second one here, it's not actually a rectangle. So I'm going to add more points by clicking on the line, and then I can actually kind of curve it around the area of where I want the interactive reader to be. And I can go ahead and just go through quickly and do that for the remaining ones. I'm not going to be too detailed and accurate for the sake of speed in this demo. But if I wanted to, I could actually be cropping out around, like the little leaf that's sticking out, and it gives a really cool kind of reading effect where the panel's highlighted, including the thing that's sticking out, but the white on the outside is not. So I'm going to go ahead here. Just kind of, okay. So now I've set up the first page. What does this look like? Well, if you're on a desktop device like me right now, this is what you see when you're in the editor mode. So now it's kind of highlighted the panel, and I can go from one panel to the next by using my arrow keys or by clicking the panel or even scrolling with my mouse. If I was on my cell phone, what that would look like, let me see if I can get my mobile simulator up here and give you kind of a...
Oh, wow.
Here we go. So if you're on a mobile device, it'll zoom you in from panel to panel and transition you entirely cleanly.
With finger taps.
Yeah, with a swipe, basically. So you can read, you know, all of this with one hand rather than pinch and zoom and pinch and zoom and pinch and zoom, which you would normally do in other kind of reading experiences. So, you know, okay, cool. This is all set up. If you happen to be a reader that doesn't want to do the interactive panel, you can turn that off too by turning off interactive mode up here.
Okay.
You're just reading it like a normal reading.
PDF. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it goes from page to page to page. And, you know, as Johnny was saying, you can actually add text on top of this. So in this case, the image actually has the text rastered in, but you could potentially upload the comic without the text rastered in. And you can add the text in separately. So that's this nice little text layer. So I can, you know, add some copy over here.
Oh, wow.
Sound effects, whatever. No, oh, I missed a sound effect, or you know, oh, I wish there was something here, like, you know, whatever the case may be. This gives you like a second chance.
Now, so if you do end up doing that, like if you do change the text, does it give you a lot of different font options for like, because I know like because I do a lot of lettering with my comic, and there's like a lot of different dialogue fonts people can use, and then there's different ones you use for like sound effects.
Sure.
Does that give you the option to do it?
So right now there's 2 fonts that you can use.
Okay.
It's the Anime Ace and Comic Common.
Okay, yeah.
Not too far away is actually the ability to upload your own font.
Cool.
It comes with some requirements on, you know, I certify that I have the right to use this thing in a public and commercial space.
Yeah, and you have to provide proof. Yeah, because you guys could get into some trouble with that.
But you know, that's totally possible, and we can add any number of fonts. Like currently in my development environment, I think I have like 150 sitting on this thing, and I can
wow. Okay.
And then, you know, when you're reading, it just kind of looks like this.
Oh wow.
It blends in nicely.
Yeah, like you don't even notice it. Yeah, that's really cool.
So like on the other demo that everyone can see on the platform, if you go and you look up, there's one called Vestas. On this one here, you'll see none of the speech bubbles actually have text. But when you look at the reading experience, all of this text is coming from this interactive text overlay.
Oh, wow.
And this is, you know, one of the things that this actually enables is extremely easy to translate and localize comics from one language to another.
Oh wow, really? So it does it for you?
Well, so if the image doesn't have all of the rastered text, then it's easy to create a system where, as a translator, you have the English and you put the other language version in, and you have a review step from typesetting and whatever. But actually, just doing the translation can happen directly on the comic and skipping out a lot of steps.
Oh wow. Yeah, this is great. I mean, very powerful software.
You're actually now opening up yourself to multiple audiences in other countries that you could have never even possibly connected with before, just because the translation options are you know.
Well, that's huge for you, Johnny.
Yeah, easy to do. What's that?
I said that's huge for you with Sartana, because is that Western, right?
That's correct. Yeah. So Sartana is a spaghetti Western. You know, audiences in Italy would actually be more familiar with the character than a U.S. audience. Yeah,
so that's definitely huge for you that has like already an audience built in overseas, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So if you know you have the files already in multiple languages, you can always just go ahead and like upload them in multiple. So if you had the French version, for example, you could say that. And now you can create the issues for this comic in French. And it actually gives you the French localization of titles and description and all of that.
Wow, that's awesome.
You guys at one point were talking about having built-in translators, correct?
Yes, that's correct. We're working on it. It's hard.
I can imagine, but I mean, just think about that. If you can upload your comic and natively it translates it for you automatically, like that's down the pipeline with this platform. Like that's amazing. That's empowering you as a creator and, widening your base for you.
I don't actually know. I don't actually know if we'd want to go with automatic translation until that becomes really good, because translation and localization is not the same thing, and localization is required in order to make comic stories compelling. But
Sure.
Certainly, what we are going to be launching relatively soon is the ability for you as a creator to work with translators directly on Global Comix. So that you can co-publish and share revenue for that matter. Whatever it is that you might want to do, and work with the community of translators and crowdsource, say, I would like my thing translated into Italian. Who's interested?
Right.
Yeah, that's awesome. Are you guys going to work in, like, I don't know if it's already exists on there, but I noticed, like, even with, like, YouTube now, they try to work in like a social media kind of like a community building element into the software now. Is that something that you guys have thought about, or do you even think that would?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Followers and favorites, discussion forums for each of your titles if you want to have that, comments on pages and status updates. All of this is kind of built into the platform already.
Awesome.
And then, the analytics for it. So, we were talking about this earlier. I can go into a monthly view and look at kind of the past year for this demo comic that, we're not really promoting or anything. It's just kind of sitting there. But it'll give you all of the information that you want to look at. So, like, in March, there were 1,100 page reads from 304 unique readers. And I can see, 226 of these readers came from Google, and they read 582 page reads, etc. You get the same thing for followers and engagement, right? So if you're working on building up readership, then you get this kind of information on, as you're sharing, when are people following you, what are they favoriting, what are they commenting on, etc.
Awesome.
To answer Amy's birdhouse question, I just did a quick count. I think we have around 40, I think maybe 42 different countries represented right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, if you go onto the platform and you go to our Browse Comics section, every country is listed on the left side, and you can actually filter by which countries you want to read from. Some obviously have more than others, but currently we have a pretty broad list, and we're looking to grow that.
Yeah, this is awesome.
I'll stop my screen sharing at this point.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let me go back to our. Yeah, here we go.
Nice.
Back to the format here. Well, we're getting into almost an hour here. We're at 50 minutes, so we'll start to wind this down a little bit. Johnny, did you have any other questions for Chris or Eric?
I'm sure I have like a laundry list of like personal requests for the platform, but I don't want to bog them down with that. I'd rather them take the time to share a little bit more about Global Comix. But one thing I did want to mention to people specifically is that I typically after graciously getting a promotional credit when I met them at C2E2, I now typically keep 100 credits in my account at all times, just so I can check out new books that pop up. And, sometimes it just takes a little bit of a nudge for people to hop on the platform and check things out. And I think these guys did something pretty special for our viewers here tonight exclusively, if that's correct.
Oh, really? Okay.
That is correct.
What do we got?
Do you guys want to share that with the audience?
Yes, we certainly do. So for those of you all out there that are listening, whether you're a reader or a creator, we got something special for you. If you're a reader, you can get 50 free reading credits by claiming the code IRC, or rather ICR gift 2020. So that's Indie Comics Relay ICR gift 2020 on your credits section on your account. And if you're a creator and you want to try out our premium tooling and premium platform experience, we're handing out a 75% discount on all of our subscriptions for those who want to check that out using the same code.
Great. Let me put that in the chat. How long is the promotional good for? Because I can actually put it in the description of the video. So say someone that didn't get to watch us live tonight can check out in the description tomorrow. And
promotion's good for the next month. So until okay. I think midnight of September 5th or something.
Yeah, so basically they have nothing to lose. They can get it. Now, one thing I wanted to ask too, like to get the credits, is it an easy transaction process? Like can someone just use PayPal, their credit card? How does that work?
For right now, what we support is credit card, and it's actually extremely easy. There's not a lot of hoops to jump through. You know, you'd go to your credit section and hit buy credits. You'd choose the kind that you want, and then it'll ask you for your credit card information, and that's it. And then you're done. The thing we should say is that we don't actually personally store any of the credit card information, so okay. It's extremely secure. Even if you asked us, you know, like, can you look in the database for me? I'd be like, nope, I have no idea what those details are. We use a vendor called Stripe that handles all of that for us. Gotcha. So security behind all of this is top notch.
Yeah, I can actually speak to that because my day job, I work for a solar panel company, and they use the same stuff for their website. Where so we get constantly a lot of people saying, hey, can you just charge my card? And I'm like, nope, you got to call us and give us your credit card info. So I definitely can attest that that is very safe software for anybody that's worried about putting their credit card info on a site. So definitely, that's good stuff. Anything else that Chris or Eric, anything else that you guys want to touch upon that we might have fallen through the holes here?
Yeah, I think, like, you know, for those of y'all that are reading and watching this, I'd encourage you to go and see what you can find that is, you know, new or something that you haven't seen before, or from some obscure indie creator on the site, and help share that out. Like, help those people be successful and get discovered. That's the biggest thing that you as readers can do, is like share great reading experience with other people.
I agree. I think you guys have given not only the creators but the readers some great tools here to discover new books and you know, kind of get away from like the superhero books and, you know, just try something new. Like Eric was saying earlier too, about how the indie creators are coming up with like inventive stories that are not the norm. So you can definitely find something, I think, that would suit your taste, you know, big time.
Every day there's something new that comes up, and it's like super cool.
Awesome. And so Eric, did you have anything to add as well, or?
Yeah, I would just say, you know, feel free to reach out if you have any questions. The best email is just contact, CONTACT,
okay,
at globalcomix.com.
Now, is that on the website?
Yeah, if you go to the contact us, if you go to globalcomix.com and you click the contact us button, you will be able to either submit through the form on the website, or you can actually just copy and paste that email. If it was, you know, hard to remember, and if you have any questions, just let us know. And we're there to. Oh, and there's one last thing I'd love to mention, and we'll send you the link to put in if you'd like. We're doing the second of our digital marketing webinars on August 20th.
Okay.
It's going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So we're on the East Coast, and we're trying to make it so that anybody at any point in the world could hopefully log on at a reasonable hour.
Okay.
And basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to do a quick review of our first marketing webinar, which is not necessary. You don't need to see that to do this one. But we're just going to be doing a little bit more of a deep dive, and we're actually going to be going in, taking apart some of our favorite comics on the site, analyzing them for who we think the best audience is, how we think about their demographics, and then actually finding communities to post and start to generate traffic from.
Great. So that's mostly that would be beneficial probably to both, like a reader or a creator. Probably more a creator though, right?
I think we're definitely talking more to creators, but for the the unique reader who is looking to have know a bit more about how the sausage is made. I mean,
yeah, or somebody that's thinking about dipping their toe in the indie comic scene.
Also,
that might, that might want to do it.
Yeah, it's also totally free. It's totally free. You just have to register.
Yeah, if you want to,
the link.
Yeah, if you want to share the link with me, I'll put it in the description when I finalize the video for the channel tomorrow. I'll put that along with the code that you guys gave us for free. One thing I wanted to ask you guys as a final question, both Chris and Eric, where do you guys see Global Comix in say a year or two?
In a year, I mean, we'll still be right here. There'll be a lot more content and creators and things to read. But I think we're gonna stay true to our mission, and we're gonna be working every single day towards helping creators be successful. And a year from now is no different than 5 years from now. We're going to continue, building out the platform's offering and tooling and functionality as much as we can, so that we can serve all of our constituents in the best possible way. That's
awesome. And Eric?
I mean, I think Chris captured the sentiment really well. I abide by this phrase that we overestimate what we can do in a year and underestimate what we can do in 2. So I think in terms of a year from now, I imagine that we're going to be just doing a lot more of what we're doing right now, helping creators and publishers learn more about digital marketing, watching those numbers climb, watching people's businesses grow. And hopefully, also a year out from now, we hope to also be showing up at a lot more conventions and, meeting a lot more people and just continuing to spread this, this thing that we're building.
Great.
It wasn't too vague of an answer.
No, it's great. Let me just share some final questions here. Someone asked, will big international titles like Cyber 6 be considered for the platform?
I mean, that's up to the creators and publishers. From our perspective, anyone can publish. Awesome. Whether you're, a single person sitting at home publishing and creating, or if you're a bigger publisher with a lot of content. We have a wide mix. And over the last couple of months, we've added a whole bunch of publishers, and I think 500 or 600 creators or so in the last month or 2.
Oh, that's great.
And just to put just one more lens on that, anybody that wants to upload is able to upload. Global Comix does not, limit who is able to upload. However, we do have a content policy that if anything gets reported or we discover it and it violates that policy, things like hate speech, certain kinds of violence, things like that, then it will, be addressed. But that being said, if you draw, something and you want to upload it, you can do that.
Actually, that spawned one more question for me. I know Comixology, they had a lot of trouble with piracy, where people are ripping their stuff off of there and putting it on pirate sites and stuff. Do you guys, I don't know if you have to have something in place for that, but how secure is the site for if someone's worried about something like that?
I mean, so here's our principle on that.
Okay.
The reason why piracy exists, first and foremost, is 2 primary things. There's the availability problem, and then there's the lack of funds problem.
Okay.
And so there are people out there that will not pay for content no matter what, and they will go to extreme lengths to pirate no matter what there is.
Yeah, that's
You're not going to be able to stop those, and you're not going to be able to convert those into paying readers, I don't think. Then there's the larger breadth of folks that may or may not have consumed content on a pirated form.
Okay.
take music as an example, where Spotify, as one example, made the music so conveniently easy and available at your fingertips that it's more of a hassle to actually go and like find the music and torrent and download it and then put it in your devices, etc. Right? So there's the convenience factor. Now, to answer your question specifically, it's web technology. There's only so much that you can actually do to prevent people from doing stuff.
Right.
Can you click and save the image? No. Can we prevent you from screenshotting your desktop? No. Right? And it's the same with many apps in that sense. We do have some like anti-scraping stuff in play. Like if we detect you're a bot, we won't serve you an image. And even if you get the list of URLs that the images are loaded from, they're behind secure routes that time and expire and are locked to specific each user. So like it's not convenient to go and like copy things from Global Comix off.
Okay, good.
It would be possible, again, it's browser technology, but as long as we're doing our job in making the legal consumption more convenient, more easy, and more accessible, then I think that's ultimately what's going to win. Right? Like because
I agree. Yeah, I
and
agree.
if it's behind a paywall, they're not going to see it unless they pay a credit for it anyway.
Oh, there you go. All right. Well, Johnny, did you have any final words for Chris or Eric, or any?
Well, actually, I just wanted to, I've been raving about Global Comix since we started doing this show.
Yeah.
And since I met these guys at the beginning of the year, and I absolutely love the platform. And like I said before, I feel like they're working in the best interests of the independent creators, and they're very generous with giving our audience and our creators and our audience a little bit of leeway on the platform with some free credit. So definitely, take advantage of that. Use it, share it with other people, share it with comic readers. Just let people know that there's a little bit of a free promo here going on, so that it's a 1 month time frame. That thing's going to expire. So take the time now to share it. Get out there, get on the platform and check it out. Once you use it a little bit and you see how awesome it can be, you'll just get hooked and you'll find yourself with credits in your account all the time.
Yep. And I plan on tomorrow when I tweet out the link to the video, I'll definitely will mention the free credit as well, because that was very generous of you guys to give us. So I'll definitely put it out there as much as I can as well. So
we greatly appreciate you coming on the show, taking the time.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you for having us. You're very welcome.
Yeah, I hope we weren't too hard hitting with the questions.
You can dial it up a many notches if you wanted to. Yeah. There's nothing that I'm comfortable talking about when it comes to Global Comix.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you guys. Thanks for joining us tonight. And this video will be on the channel tomorrow. And me and Johnny will be back in 2 weeks with another live stream.
You got it.
Good night,
Thank you guys so much.
All right, guys.
Thanks.